This is lesson 1.8, coordinate geometry. This is a coordinate plane. Your y-axis will always be the vertical one, and your x-axis will always be the horizontal one. For example, this point, you would write it x, y. So write your point on the x-axis, and then write where it is on the y. There's 4 quadrants. This is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now if you're going to graph something, for example, y equals 1 minus x squared. So you just make a little chart, and you find x values. So we'll go -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So then you put -2 in for x. So -2 squared is 4, and then 1 minus 4 is -3. -1 in there is going to be 1 minus 1, which is 0. 0 in there is going to be 1 minus 0, so 1. And then since there's a parabola, once you start going back up, it's going to be the same things for the opposite ones. So that's going to be 0 and -3. Now we'll draw a quick sketch. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, x, -2, -3, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 2, -3. Connect the lines, and there's your parabola. Okay, so this is the distance formula. It is x2 minus x1 squared plus the quantity of y2 minus y1 squared. So for example, we're going to find the distance between 4, 6, and 1, 8. It doesn't matter which one you call your x1 and your x2 as long as you keep it the same. So I'm going to make 1, 8 my x2. So the x of the second quantity is 1 minus 4 squared plus 8 minus 6 squared. This is going to equal the square root of -3 squared plus 2 squared, which is going to be 9 plus 4. And then that will equal the square root of 13. And so these numbers might not always be very pretty, but that just is sort of the best you're going to get there. All right, and then for finding the midpoint. So that's if you have a line from here to here. Say you have these 2 points, you want to find what's the point in the middle. So we're going to use the same points as before. So the midpoint of 4, 6, and 1, 8. So x1, 4 plus 1 over 2. And then this is going to be 6 plus 8. Oops, 8 over 2. All right, so your point is going to be 5/2 and 7, which makes sense because if we do a really quick sketch, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 8, and then 5/2, that's about 2.5, and 7. So obviously this graph isn't perfect, but you can see that it's right about the same distance from each one. All right, so then if you're going to find the vertex of any graph, you're going to take the opposite of the b value over 2 times a. So if we're going to do this, we're going to do opposite of b, your 4 is your b, and since it's negative, it's going to be 4 over 2 times, since there's nothing here, it's just 1. So your x is 2. Now that's only your x value of the vertex. You're going to have to put it back in here to find the y. So you're going to have 2 squared minus 4. 4 minus 4, your vertex will equal 2, 0. All right, so this is finding intercepts. So how you're going to find a y-intercept of a problem, you set x equal to 0, so you put 0 in for every x value, and then you solve it, and whatever your y is, that's where it's going to be your y-intercepts. For x, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to put y's as 0, and then you're going to solve for the x. And there can be more than one x and y intercept. For like example, if you have one of these things, you could have 1, 2, 3 here that we can see. So there can be more than one. And then circles, the full equation for circles is quantity of x minus h squared plus the quantity of y minus k squared equals r squared. R is the radius. Your center is going to be hk. So if it's at 0, 0, it'll just be x squared plus y squared. So here's an example problem. X minus 4 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 16. So your center, you take the opposite of this. So it's going to be, your x is going to be 4, and then your y is going to be negative 2. The radius, you're going to have to take the square root of 16, which will equal 4. And then the graph. So how you graph these, alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 2. You know your radius is 4, so if you move 4 up, 4 to the left, 4 down, 4 right, those are your points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And that should give you a pretty nice circle. Once again, these aren't obviously accurate completely, but that will help you to just prove your equation. Alright, so you might be asked how to find an equation of a circle. So the first equation, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Alright, so your center, this is your x value. So it's going to be x minus 3 squared plus y minus 7 squared. And then you're going to have to square the radius, so it's going to equal 25. And that's all you have to do for that. How to find if an equation is symmetrical. So if you want to find if there's symmetry to the x-axis, you're going to place every y with negative I. And then if the equation still equals the same thing, it's going to be symmetrical to x. If you want to find if it's symmetry to y, you replace the x with a negative x. And then if the equation is same there, it's symmetrical to the y-axis. And then symmetrical to the origin, you replace every x with negative x and every y with negative I. If the equation is same, then it's symmetrical to the origin again.